Yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Now recognize the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Carter, for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity to wave on to this. Mr. Hoover, it's my understanding, and I think it's been pointed out numerous times today during this hearing, that the EPA's really never operated a program like this before, and that you sought input from outside organizations. I'm not absolutely opposed to that. In fact, I may like it in some ways, but according to EPA, you engaged with organizations interested in the success of the program and hosted targeted stakeholder roundtables. But while gaining the feedback is helpful, there are reports that suggest that the EPA may have inappropriately delegated the authority to design the program too. In fact, according to reports accompanied by EPA emails, in October of 2022, the EPA convened a small group meeting of advocacy groups and think tanks to provide early feedback on the EPA's request for information on the program and ask clarifying questions. How did you decide which groups to invite?
Congressman, the Inflation Reduction Act was enacted in August of 2022, and that fall we launched an extensive public engagement process. We reached thousands of individuals and organizations through requests for information, meetings, town halls, and charges to our federal advisory boards. And so everyone who wanted an opportunity to come talk to EPA had an opportunity. What's really important is that in every one of those meetings, we had two critical safeguards. First, we never met with any individual or organization one-on-one. And second, we never disclosed any non-public information about the program to anyone. In fact, that fall...
So if they showed up and they had an interest in it, you allowed them to participate?
Public comment is an important part of making sure...
Understood,
the job
understood.
Right.
But with the think tanks that you were with the different groups, I mean, how did you decide which ones, if indeed this is true, that you delegated authority to design the program?
We did not delegate authority to anyone. We invited everyone we thought would be interested, and as we heard from more folks that were interested, we added additional meetings for them too. We wanted to reach everyone, hear the very best ideas, and then we took that information and we used that as a federal agency to inform how we, a federal agency, designed the program.
How many of these meetings are we talking about? How many did you have?
There were dozens of meetings that were held consistent with our federal ethics rules and competition policy, with our general counsel's office present in all of those meetings.
How many are we talking about?
We held several town halls. We had dozens of meetings with hundreds of over thousands of individuals and organizations.
Were any of these groups, were they partners or coalition members or of any applicants applying for the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund awards?
Again, we had thousands of people participate. I would assume that some of them then chose to apply.
Do you consider that to be fair if they were potentially going to gain from this?
So the important thing is that everyone had an equal opportunity to provide input at the front end of the process. There were two parts of this, right? There was the design phase where we wanted to hear everyone's best ideas, and then we went and designed the competition. And then there's the evaluation and selection process. And during the evaluation and selection process, the only folks in the room are the federal government. And everyone who's been participating has to adhere to our high standards for federal ethics rules and impartiality.
We've always heard the wolf garden hen house. I mean, were these groups that were giving this input, did they have the opportunity to apply for some of these funds?
So, Congressman, anytime...
It's yes or no. I mean, it's...
Anyone who's eligible for the program is eligible to apply. And we conducted public engagement that was widely available and open for folks to attend and provide input.
Have you made public a list of the targeted stakeholder meetings?
I'd have to get back to you. We've made a lot of information public.
I'd ask you to do that. If you could get back with us and submit that to this committee, Mr. Chairman, we sure would appreciate it. That'd be very important information for us to understand. Look, I don't want you to think I'm accusatory, because I kind of like the idea of going to outside groups and getting input. But if they've got a vested interest in this, then it looks like this may be a conflict of interest. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, Congressman, what's important to note here is that we've worked closely hand in hand at every step of the process with our career ethics attorneys and our career office of grants.
And that's what scares me when you say career, so just FYI.
They are the folks that hold the agency accountable for the high standards of both federal ethics law and EPA's competition.
Okay, well, if you'll get that list to this subcommittee, I sure would appreciate
We'd be
it.
happy to do that.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity.
Gentleman yields back. Thank you. Seeing there are no further members wishing to ask questions, I'd like to thank our witness again for being here and testifying today. Just making sure I heard the door click, just making sure somebody wasn't trying to get in the last second. I would ask unanimous consent to insert in the record the documents included on the staff hearing documents list. Hearing no objection, that will be the order. Pursuant to committee rules, I remind members that they have 10 business days to submit additional questions for the record, and I ask that the witness submit his response within 10 business days upon receipt of the question. Without objection, the subcommittee is adjourned.